What's up everyone, it's Jan Boers. It's a new video, it's a new Humans of Eurovision show, and it's the anniversary. It's 20th anniversary of this show, and I'm really glad that I'm that far, kind of. But it was a hell of a road, it was. I must admit I was struggling with sound and with picture and with getting a good questions, you know, sometimes, but I'll try to keep it diverse, I'll try to keep it attractive for you. And I really try to bring you another points of view. So I'm really glad that you're subscribing, sharing, liking my videos. So I'll ask you to do it as well, because I will continue even after. And well, I really hope you are enjoying this. So I really ask you to write the comments below if you like this show and what would you like to change, or what kind of questions you would like me to ask better. I'm all yours, let's discuss about it, and welcome my next guest, who is no one else than former executive supervisor of Eurovision Song Contest, Jon Ola Sand. Well, there's no need to tell more, isn't it? So please welcome, it's Jon Ola. Hey Jon Ola, I'm really honored that you have this kind of time for me. And I'm curious, how are you doing? How is your pandemic year?
Like for everyone else, I believe, it's been a horrendous year for everyone. I'm not the worst affected, actually, but as you know, we had to cancel the Eurovision Song Contest in May 2020, which was a big blow for everyone. And so that was a really sad thing to do. And for the first time since '56, we couldn't manage to establish a Eurovision Song Contest. So for that reason, it has been an horrendous year. But also, you know, all the people who are affected of this. I mean, we were not the only event who was hit by this pandemic. So yeah, it's been a tough year, but we're seeing light in the tunnel. So and that's good. And thank you for having me, actually, on your show. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, because this is especially the thing that I wanted to ask you about the pandemic year, because it started a year ago, and you were still the executive producer, executive supervisor for Eurovision. Was this the worst task or the biggest task you had in your position in this 10 years reign of yours?
Well, definitely. I mean, we managed every year to establish a solid, good Eurovision Song Contest in every territory we visited, but to close a Eurovision Song Contest is, first of all, much more difficult than to start one and to execute one, and then being the one who had to pull the plug in the end was very tough. So that was actually my toughest decision over the 10 years I was on the watch as the executive supervisor of the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah, how was it when you just hindsight for, like, look at it backwards at those negotiations about it, if it's going to be cancelled or not, with the reference group talks and everything around it? How was it? How you look at it, like in the hindsight of it? How you look at it now? Was it a great decision, good decision? Like, How was it at the moment when it's happening, you know, and how is it like now when you look back?
Well, when you're in the middle of it, it's like a hurricane. It's so many stakeholders. You need to inform so many people. You need to play very carefully together with the host broadcaster. You have to make sure that all the contracted people that are signed up for Eurovision Song Contest, be it the participating broadcasters and all the other professional people from all over Europe working on the Eurovision Song Contest, that they also are well informed in a professional and good manner, and that they understand. I don't think we could have done it differently, maybe, but I think this was the only way to do it, and I think it was definitely the right thing to cancel it. We wouldn't have been able to stage it, no way. So, well, this is how it went.
Yeah, for sure. How was it the first week or two after this decision for you? As I remember, there were, like, if I just generalize it, two blocks of ideas. Like, one block said, well, that's very understandable. mostly from the countries which were already very hit by the pandemic. And then second one, well, we have to do it whatever happened, and probably a big pressure upon your head as well. How was this?
Well, we knew we couldn't do Eurovision Song Contest, and we didn't want to play out with the promo videos, because we could have done a competition with the promo videos we had, but that wouldn't be fair. And we talked a lot with all the participating broadcasters, and most of them said, well, this will not be fair. We didn't make a promo video to compete. We want to be on a stage to compete. And for that reason, we just saw that there were no other way out than to cancel it.
Yeah, it was a very new situation as well for everyone, like in the world, probably every profession.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't only the Eurovision Song Contest. It was, big sport arrangement, cultural arrangements, festivals, everything had to be cancelled. And I think that was the right thing to do. And the strange thing is that we have backup plans for Eurovision Song Contest every year, good backup plans, where we actually can move the Eurovision Song Contest out of the territory if something should happen. But this wasn't a local thing. This was a global thing. So we couldn't, there was no corner of the earth we could move the Eurovision Song Contest to make sure we could stage it safely.
Yeah, what was on your mind when you decided that, not just by yourself, but when you decided it? And did you ask yourself, like, okay, it's just a year, but it will be, okay in half a year or something like this, and the pandemic is still in. Did you expect such a thing?
No, nobody knew how long this pandemic would stay. It was very difficult to predict, at least, just a few weeks after we had to cancel. And it's still there, and it will be a different Eurovision Song Contest this year, but it will be a Eurovision Song Contest, and that's the most important. They have been working really hard over the last year to make sure that we can stage the Eurovision Song Contest in Rotterdam in one way or another.
Yeah, I had this great interview with ESCZ, who's an executive producer of Eurovision in the Netherlands, and I have talked to many of head of delegations, current or the former head of delegations, and all they seem very optimistic it's gonna happen. How optimistic are you, or how optimistic you were when you started at your position, like executive supervisor? I will never remember this correctly. How was it? Executive supervisor of Eurovision. How?
That's correct. Almost correct.
Almost. What's the correct thing?
The executive supervisor of the Eurovision Song Contest.
I'm shortening all the things. I forgot D and the song contest, but we all understand what I meant anyway. When you have started in 2010, 11, something between, how was it for you? What did you expect that the Eurovision will change over your reign that much? And did you accomplish everything you wanted? How was it?
Well, it's an enormous challenge to take on. Entering into Eurovision Song Contest as this sort of chief executive of the whole event is challenging. I had good, solid background. I have good, solid background. Working with TV production and big TV productions for many years. I also produced the Eurovision Song Contest in Oslo in 2010. So I was familiar with the show, and I knew what kind of enormous challenge it was, especially for the host broadcaster, who every year has to take the lead in this and actually finance it and produce it. But I sort of hit the ground running, because I had done this as a producer in Oslo. And I worked with the German team in Düsseldorf, which was an excellent team, very skilled, very knowledgeable, and with the financial means they needed to put up a real good, spectacular show. And when it comes to what I have achieved, I think we have achieved a lot over the 10 years, but you don't just change things in Eurovision Song Contest. You have to carefully prepare it, and it will take years to make changes. but I think we made some really good changes on my watch, and I'm sure Eurovision Song Contest will develop over the years, but there will be no rapid shifts. It will it has to take the time it takes to bring it through all the stakeholders, to make sure that everyone understands and not necessarily agree, but at least understand why it has to be well taken care of and well developed every year.
You probably had the long-term goal for Eurovision from your own side, your own philosophy. How actually influential you were at this process, how you see it, and how this slow kind of development from your perspective was working. Is there anything you would like to done better or faster?
Well, looking back, you could always do things better, and some of the things we did took time, but I think we found the right pace working with the Eurovision Song Contest. There's a lot of things you don't see even. I mean, there's the financial setup. It's the way you work, how you structure the back end of Eurovision Song Contest, and that's not necessarily something people, or at least the audience, will see, but it will strengthen the Eurovision Song Contest and give it a better foundation for the years to come. So a lot of things was happening backstage, so to say, and then we did some good changes, like how you present the votes, to make sure that we could compose the best running orders for the 3 shows, which I think is a major step up for Eurovision Song Contest. Bringing Australia in, I know it's a lot of people won't agree to that, but I think that also gave some excitement and some a good touch to the competition, bringing Australia in with so strong ties to Europe, and which with such a long history with the song contest. So I think we managed to do a lot on the front end, and then also on the back end we did quite a lot of work. Structured the team differently. That was a great part of it.
Yeah, I'm very curious of the back end of Eurovision, as I can imagine it, of course. Maybe not everything, but lots of it, because it's just a huge production under the lots of small productions anywhere in the world on just a super huge scale. But can you be a bit more specific about this back end? What audience, or my audience, the fans of Eurovision, can't really imagine what is this about?
Well, first of all, it's a full year of work. You have to start to prepare the next Eurovision Song Contest on the day you have a winner. We're a quite small team at the EBU. We're not many people. And then we have a partner set up around Europe. People working from Cologne, Copenhagen, from Lucerne in Switzerland, from the UK, and they are supporting different parts of the Eurovision Song Contest. And to strengthen that partner setup, to make sure you have a robust team, a professional, robust team that can handle almost any challenge is important. And when I came on board, I saw that this team was quite fragile. It was not really a strong team in Geneva, because my predecessor had run this operation out of Geneva, and it was run from Stockholm. He had his office there. So the EBU team wasn't really connected. So I really connected and built the team at the EBU in Geneva. Strong loyal team, strong legal team, strong.
Hopefully loyal as well.
It was a strong loyal team as well, but a strong legal team, a strong financial team, logistics. So it was. I think that is one of the success criteria of Eurovision Song Contest. It has to be solidly founded and stay on very safe ground in order to achieve what it should achieve.
The audience mostly see just the content part of the contest, but there's, as well as you said, many back office work, however you call it. But I see 3 pillars, which is voting, which is always a big deal, and it will be probably a big deal in the future, whatever happens. It's the legal rights in general, like for music, for the picture, and then of course you have financial side of the project. How this brand strengthen itself under your reign?
I think on all these three pillars, it has been strengthened. Also on the financial side, to make sure that we can work more professionally on the commercial setup, to make sure we bring in money, and that money goes mainly to finance the production. The EBU is a non-profit organization, so no money is going in there and disappearing into the EBU. It's all going into the Eurovision Song Contest and supporting the host broadcaster. On the legal side, we have built a very strong legal team in Geneva, taking good care of the rights. And also, since this is a competition, you need to have really strict and clear rules for everyone. So we have worked a lot on changing the rules, make them more understandable, but also more sort of coherent, so they are fit together. So that work is also complicated, and it takes time. Also because the EBU has a very solid structure around it from member side, like committees and groups, who is overseeing the work we are doing, and they have a right to know, and they have a right to say what they think is right. So I think on that side, and then we have strengthened the competition itself, the TV show itself, focusing a lot on the TV show to make sure that it's a competition and it stays strong, but also that we can add in other pieces of music, of culture, of entertainment that is coherent with what public service broadcasters should do. It is, after all, a public service broadcaster project.
And how could you influence this from your position? How was that possible?
It's I approve everything in the show basically, but I'm also very I'm also listening a lot to the local broadcaster every year to make sure that each year Eurovision Song Contest has a flavor from that country, and that's why I was not a big fan of having a Madonna in there, because it hasn't anything to do with sort of the local culture.
But you had Justin Timberlake in 2016 Stockholm, so...
Yeah, that's absolutely right, and that was a huge discussion. Was it important or wasn't it important? I think he made a super act for Eurovision Song Contest in Stockholm. I think it was really great, but it's not something we need. The Eurovision Song Contest is standing very well on its own legs, and you don't need a Justin Timberlake, and that's why it has only happened twice. It was Justin Timberlake and then Madonna, and I don't think it will happen again. That we will need to bring in an American superstar to the show, because the show is strong enough by far on its own.
Yeah, and then do you think this merging, like, that wasn't actually the part of my questions in here, but it's a very interesting topic for me as well, as there is an American Song Contest going to happen probably. American culture influence European music for sure. Can you compare Madonna and Justin Timberlake, because if we just look at the Stockholm 2016 Eurovision, it probably got the biggest numbers, but like in all the media outlets you can imagine. The brand awareness probably raised as well, and maybe Justin Timberlake just was a great part of it as well. Isn't this merging of cultures actually the essence of Eurovision?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think this is a great platform for European artists, and some of them, unknown. Some of them are quite famous in their own territory or in the neighboring territories, but it gives them a great platform, and we give everyone the same attention on that stage, the same 3 minutes from the production team, from the EBU, from the audience. You get the same attention, and that is a very strong signal. And yes, Justin Timberlake was great, but the Stockholm edition was better than Justin Timberlake. I mean, the Stockholm edition was a great show by itself. The hosts, the production value, all the acts on that stage were great. So yeah, I mean, he added flavor to it, but I think in the core of it, it's a competition that has been running for so many years, and what you add around it, in my opinion, should be local, have local flavor, so that you really feel that you're traveling to another destination.
Yeah, to have a feeling.
Otherwise, you could do the competition, in one central place in Europe every year. I think that's the beauty of it. It travels, and every year it adds flavor to the Eurovision Song Contest. So yeah, I think that's a very strong element.
Yeah, and it adds challenges to the production as well. As I remember, Kiev one when they were actually at the war, or the Israeli one, which is always a bit complicated, different because of the rules of the country as well, and all the political pressures as well. How have you dealt with it as this as well? The part of the Eurovision which is always discussed, how non-political it actually is.
I mean, what we do, what we manage to do every year is to keep the shows free from politics. We cannot guarantee that no one else around the show will use it, for political reasons. But I think we managed very well over the last 10 years, and I mean, even for back in, for many years, I think the Eurovision Song Contest has managed to stay apolitical. But it depends how you define politics. I mean, it is a fact that such a huge show with such, enormous attention will attract, political thoughts or people who would like to use it for political reasons. But I think we managed, with some exceptions, very well to keep the shows free from politics, and that's what we actually are committed to. And none of the members, not even in those countries you mentioned, would like to use this as a political tool, because they know that will backfire. That the beauty of the Eurovision Song Contest is that it is sort of apolitical in the sense that it doesn't carry any messages across, political messages.
Yeah, let's get a bit controversial, just a bit maybe it's not controversial at all, but I remember 2 flags waving at Eurovision used by delegations or the members of delegation as a political signal, whatever, and there are of course fines. Do you think it's enough to just give a signal like don't bring politics into Eurovision? Usually it is.
They are not interested to bring political statements in there, because they know that that's that could be the end of it. If so we have these mishaps and this unfortunate flag waving a couple of times, which is not good. And I think we have very few examples of that. And again, everyone attending Eurovision Song Contest, from the EBU members, they are not interested in bringing this up to a political level.
Yeah, no one probably is actually, not even funds. Maybe it's a bit of spice, which is unnecessary, of flavoring a good meal. But the thing is, do you think this is one of the elements why, or not just the only one, but why Eurovision is getting attracted by young audience when actually public broadcaster and maybe broadcasters in general struggle to bring in young audience? And how did it change over this 10 years? Was it this like all the time like this, or it just changed over the years?
I don't have the figures before my time, but I can see it's steadily developed with young audiences over the last 10 years. And I think one of the main reasons is that it's just a really cool, big spectacle. It's something that is fun to watch. It's a lot. I mean, it's a high-end production, and also since 2010, TV sets have become so much better. And people have, they have bigger screens, they have better sound, and it's really something you can gather in front of, and you can feel the energy from the audience. And this is something that will attract young people, not necessarily that this is their favorite music or their favorite hosts or their favorite sort of competition, but the combination of, I mean, a state-of-the-art show, thousands of people going wild in the venue. It's something that is a very attractive piece of content, simply.
Yeah, you come from the environment where this is a bit natural. You have this MGP in Norway, or the whole Scandinavian countries actually have their selections, traditional thing, kind of. Especially Norway and Sweden, their numbers are awesome. Do you see that this background can, like, we saw that the chief supervisor was from Sweden, then Norway, now it's Sweden as well. Do you think this is as well because your countries has such traditions in doing such events, especially with music, and it's non-licensed as well? Is this public broadcaster thing which everybody should follow? It's a lot of question in once, but I think you got it. So,
well, we have a strong tradition here in the Nordic region, and also in Denmark and Finland. I must say they have their national selections very well executed, and. I think we have a very, we have a very strong production environment in Scandinavia, and out of that, I can never I can never tell why I was chosen for the job and why it was a Swede before me and a Swede after me. But Martin Österdahl is a great professional. He's been working on the highest level for many years. He produced the show twice over, in 13 and 16. And with that experience, it's just, it was a good choice in my view.
do you see there any other countries? Because the Scandinavians in general, I think they're really strong in television overall. Like, not just 1 year, which differs from the rest. It's like all the time the best possible TV. I overseeing every year. It's a big workshop for me, kind of, learning material, like exactly how I really would like to do it in other countries, like not smaller, but not this traditional countries of Eurovision, like Czech Republic. But do you see in such new countries or smaller countries that they're influenced by those successful countries as well? And do you see they're rising in the quality as well? And maybe they're challengers for Eurovision in next decade?
Well, definitely. You see it in Estonia, Latvia, you see it in Lithuania. They all have, a very strong and professional focus. I mean, Estonia had it for many years. Big night, basically, where they choose their entry. And you see it in other territories as well. There are different ways of doing this. Switzerland has now changed the way they work on their entry.
Yeah, as well as Germany.
In Germany, and they're using the same method, and so you don't necessarily need a big row of or 6 consecutive weeks of entertainment shows to choose a winner. You can do it differently, and again, I mean, Norway had that strong Melodi Grand Prix for very many years, but we haven't. We don't have that good track record when it comes to winning, but still, it's at least for the brand and for the artist, it's a very good thing to have a strong national selection.
Yeah, or is it even possible from your position, or was it even possible from your selection, or was it part of your focus as well of the brand rising, brand growing, to influence other CEOs of television, public broadcasters to do such a thing, to take Eurovision more seriously, maybe?
Well, at least we discussed a lot with the different CEOs and the different broadcasters, and we once wanted to make it mandatory to have a national selection show, at least a minimum of a national selection show, just to have strengthen the Eurovision Song Contest brand and to have the audience, give the audience a chance to vote, to make sure that they have the support from the viewers. That obviously is not a good idea to try to make it mandatory, because we cannot influence the schedules of the broadcasters, and they themselves know how they should run their schedule, and that's natural. But I've talked a lot with the broadcasters, and a lot of them actually tried this, and a lot of them have actually continued. So I managed to convince quite a lot of them that they should make some kind of national selection show in order to achieve both brand awareness and to have the audience behind it.
Yeah, my own experience is that in TV industry there is a lack of, like, I don't know how the world right now is to be said, but the results should be like now, and if it doesn't really work for 1 year, we cancel it. Do you think this is something, especially with Eurovision, which is just 1 year event, or one event per year, it's still worth it to have long-term goals, even on the national base scale?
Yeah, I think you have to set a 5-year goal or something. You have to try it. If you don't succeed the first year or the second year, you have to have the stamina to continue. And you see that those broadcasters who actually, decide to stay firm on the decision, they succeed. And then they can change the format and can change the way they do it. But to have this once in a year event, looking forward to the big Eurovision Song Contest, I think that is great, and those who've tried it have succeeded quite well.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions because I'm from Czech Republic, of course, but I receive a lot of questions from fans about Slovakia, and of course I was trying to talk to people from Slovakia's television to give the contest the chance again. But it's really actually hard to really tell the people what Eurovision Song Contest means, what pros it has, and how really minimum of cons it has as well. Maybe money, but I really can't imagine what else is the con. But how, from your position, was this a work to convince other countries to join in? Is it like how is it from your perspective to do it, if it's even possible?
Well, we always talk with the broadcasters that for one reason or another have decided not to continue. Sometimes they just need to put a foot on the ground and just wait for a couple of years, like Croatia did, like Bulgaria did, and sometimes they will stay out for quite a while. I mean, Slovakia used to participate, and they have participated. Now they're out. I'm sure it's possible to get them in. It's often, it's often up to the management level in the broadcast. If you have very enthusiastic top management, it's then it's easier for them to take a decision to go back and come back to the Eurovision Song Contest. So it's often up to them, and that's why we spend a lot of time talking to them on all the meeting places that the EBU creates throughout the year, and we treat them as colleagues, we treat them as professionals, and we talk to them. And I'm sure that Slovakia will be on that stage again. I'm quite confident.
Yeah, I hope too. I'll just continue with this question, but give it a bit different perspective, and that's artists. As from my perspective, it's the contest made for artists, regardless its commercial or non-commercial potential, but it's maybe the best platform for them to be shown, especially if they're national selection as well, so you can put focus on more artists than just one which represents the country. Do you think in this or from this perspective the Eurovision Song Contest has the biggest potential over any other talent show? Even Eurovision is not the talent show, but over those kind of shows like Idols, Voices, etc.
I mean, it's difficult to say. Usually it means a lot in your domestic area. or in your own country to perform on that stage. People are proud of you, and they want to support you, and often because they actually chose you to participate for them, for the country. And but I mean, it's very rarely that artists participating in Eurovision Song Contest make a really great breakthrough all over Europe. But it is the only pan-national, pan-European cultural event we have. I mean, all the other idols are local, or voices, or whatever. This is actually reaching out to so many people all over Europe. So of course it has an impact. And you can see artists that are benefiting a lot, although they don't become, top chart artists. They create they get an audience all over Europe, and for that reason can benefit a lot from it.
Do you think the Eurovision miss, or the Eurovision Song Contest to be accurate, do you think it miss those kind of stars? As in last decade, and maybe even more, we haven't seen much like artists who really made it worldwide. Do you think this is the next level of Eurovision, what Eurovision should work on somehow, if it's even possible?
I don't think you can work on it. I mean, you have to send good artists that you feel represent your country to that stage.
Yeah, but the brand sorry to interrupt you, but the brand awareness of like I really feel the brand of Eurovision really grows from kind of a let's say it really harshly, like a bizarre show, to really super professional, song-wise, song contest of many genres, many different like values of quality, whatever. But the brand awareness really changed over artists. I can really see it is in here, even in Czech Republic, where the tradition is absolutely zero. Do you think that you, as you or any other executive supervisor of Eurovision Song Contest, can influence this brand growing, or it's kind of impossible, or it's kind of coincidental?
No, I think we have. Over the 10 years, we have managed to create a lot more awareness around the song contest. But it's not because of one or two specific artists who made it, to the top of the charts. It's because this is a one-of-a-kind event. It's nothing like the Eurovision Song Contest on the planet Earth, and for that reason, I think it's standing strong and solid with the rig as it is today. You don't need, as we talked about previously, you don't need big American stars. You don't even need to have artists topping the charts all over Europe, although many of them are hitting the top of the charts in their own country. But which is very important. I mean, it would have been great if we could have one artist really, being on the top of the charts all over the world, or in Europe. I mean, some artists have done really great, like Loreen in Euphoria. It was all over. It was, and even Salvador Sobral had a huge hit with his winning song. So I think we will see more of that. But the Eurovision Song Contest stands, very well and strong without that type of world famous artists.
Yeah, probably. Maybe I have a bit different opinion about this topic. That's okay. That's what I like at Eurovision as well. And let's get to it. How was for you the influential impact of head of delegation and discussing with that to shape your own opinion of Eurovision, or how this world for you from your perspective really worked? What we should do better to help the next head, like executive supervisor? How this world works from your perspective?
No, for me, it was always very important to have a good connection to the to all the heads of delegations, so that we could have their views and their thoughts about it. We started in my time a workshop every year where we had different topics where we could meet the delegations or the delegation heads. and I have had a lot of talks throughout the year with many of you, and that's always been very valuable, because after all, you are co-creators of the show. This is not something that is just done in centrally in one place. All the flavor you bring into the show, all the artists, all the creative ideas you have, all the different meanings and suggestions, and it gives us great learnings, and it's very important for the show. That's what actually creates the show. What would the show be without the variety and the different artists and the different styles, and it's all of it. And then we have a reference group, which is a sort of a board of the Eurovision Song Contest, which is composed of members of the heads of delegations, and they are
there must be said lots of people doesn't know that they are voted into the reference group by the other head of delegations.
But that's correct. So it's very solidly anchored up, and this group is supervising what the host broadcaster do and what DBU does all over the throughout the year, and hence it's a really important central board, you can say, that's important for us.
How is, from your perspective, the relationship with Big Five countries on this matter? As I always felt it's a bit different point of view, like from the countries who are going through semifinals and the ones which are automatically in.
We have had, or at least I have had, excellent relations with those teams. I mean, they've been very professional, solid, committed people in the Big Five. So I've had excellent talks with them. They know that they are in a special position, and they treat that very carefully. But you also see it's not really necessarily an advantage for them when it comes to having this golden ticket right to the final. Yeah. But we couldn't really imagine to have a Eurovision Song Contest we couldn't really imagine to have a Eurovision Song Contest without the UK, without Italy, without Spain, without Germany. It would be we would lose audience, we would lose attraction, we would lose awareness, we would lose a lot. So I think for that reason, it's important to have a Big Five setup. Really, it gives the Eurovision Song Contest broad reach.
Yeah, I completely agree, understand this thing, but let's ask this, as I've never asked you, I probably never asked myself as well, but it appeared just right now, and that's why the other big countries like Russia or Turkey, which withdraw as well, aren't or weren't allowed to get this golden ticket too.
Well, it's a discussion that has been brought up several times, and I think everyone has agreed on that it's good to have the setup as we have right now. When it comes to Russia, there are two broadcasters alternating in that country, and they see a lot of benefits from being in the semifinals because they can, now they have attraction on 3 shows. Usually in the Big Five countries, you only have attraction on the final. You only have the viewers there. Even in some countries, they don't broadcast it's on their main channel. But for Russia, I've talked a lot with the heads of delegations from Russia, and they say we think it's super to have this attention span throughout the week of the Eurovision Song Contest. So. And when it comes to Turkey, they never approached us and said we want to be a part of Big Five. But I heard it, after their departure, that was, one of the reasons. Although that has never been confirmed.
Yeah, that's maybe I would like that. I'm really glad that you said that, because, like, I heard it as a rumor only as well. So it's great to had a different point of view. Just one last few things, and that just brings me to social media world around Eurovision. That's as well the thing why we are here right now, and maybe that helps the Eurovision as well throughout the pandemic, more as I see that this specific industry, whatever it is, segment just rising and growing like a lot. Do you think this is just a good sign for Eurovision?
You mean if we grow on social media?
Well, how you oversee, or how you just look at the social media nowadays, and when you started, and how it helped Eurovision brand to grow as well.
Well, it's we cannot be without social media, so it has developed a lot. I mean, when I started in 2011, it was hardly any social media present around the song contest. We professionalized this somewhere around 2015, where we cooperated with a UK company specialized in that type of social media work. We even brought one of those people over to the EBU to work for the EBU to help us structure the social media around the Eurovision Song Contest. So it's something we have a close focus on, and that would like to that I'm sure will develop over the next years.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is that I got this great interview with Stig, and in Norway you already using voting on social media platform, kind of the app in the phone. Do you think this is the next step for Eurovision? This is the next step for Eurovision, which should be done to change this voting system, kind of, in that way.
It could be it all boils down to a safe and fair voting. Right now, the only good measurements that we have in place is actually the way we do it right now, because we can control it 100%. To leave it to social media platforms, it's very difficult. It could be a part of the future. I mean, suddenly one day there will be a method that is safe and fair, and that we can make 100% sure that we can stick on the rules that you cannot, or the rule that you cannot vote for your own country.
But is this current method really safe? I know it's 2013, but there was this fraud Azerbaijan, or I don't know actually how this cause really end up, but it doesn't really matter. Each year there is something rumored that something's wrong. So isn't there? I know it's it's the topic, but you're the perfect person to ask about this. How this system can be even safer, especially that can count as well for the juries,
I mean, it is as good as it gets. When it comes to the televoting, it is so well scrutinized. There's so many people focusing on this. I mean, on the day of the final or the finals, there are more than 50 people sitting in Cologne working on this. We have also independent audits on it, and on site in the venue. So the televoting is really, really tight and a strict setup. There will always be rumors. People saying, "Oh, I saw someone selling SIM cards," and yeah. So those rumors will be. When it comes to the juries, we leave the responsibility to the participating broadcasters. They are members of the EBU. They want to have a fair voting system. I mean, they really need a fair voting system. But when you deal with people, you can never, be sure that I mean, that's the thing with a jury. It's ordinary people or professionals sitting there voting. I mean, I think it is as good as it gets, and we are working constantly on it to see if we can improve it and make it even better.
Yeah, and you're working constantly even now when you're just left your position at Eurovision at the EBU, but you're constantly working. We were a bit talking about it before the interview, but can you tell my audience what you're doing now, what you're up to?
Yeah, and I work for NRK, the Norwegian public service broadcaster. And when I say we, it's because we are part of the Eurovision Song Contest. NRK is a part of it, Czech TV is a part of it, BBC is a part of it, and that's why I continue to say we and not they or them. But no. Right now I've started. I started at NRK 1st of August to take the lead in developing this organization and make it ready to move to a brand new media house in Oslo 6, 8, 10 years from now, we don't know. But the organization has to be ready to move. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, and it's an enormous challenge, and it's extremely interesting. I learn a lot, but I can also bring my broad background. I have background from NRK. I worked here for many years. I know what happens to public service broadcasters that doesn't do the change when they should do. And they should constantly develop. They should constantly, find ways of working that are smarter and better in order to stay on top. And we need a strong public service broadcasting sector in Europe. And so this is very close to my heart and extremely interesting.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine a better person than you just going with this task. Jon Ola,
thank you.
Thank you for your time. It was a great interview. I'm happy that we met even like this.
Thank you very much, Jan.
And this was Jon Ola Sand. Did you enjoy the interview? Did you like his answers? Did you like my questions? Please let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this show. I really hope that you will like the video. I really hope that you will subscribe the channel. And I really hope that you will share this video among your friends, among another Eurovision fans, and spread the word about me, as this is what I really would like to bring you regularly, all the time, which I'm doing. So check even my other Humans of Eurovision. They're still full of actual great information for you fans from the backstage. You can enjoy it, you can see a bigger picture of Eurovision, not what just you see at the TV or social media. It's a bit different, as I'm former head of delegation, and I just want to, connect those two words closer together, because I think like us deserve it, you deserve it too. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.